Hello, good evening and welcome. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself tonight on the show is the one and only Mark Hateley, a true Rangers legend. Evening, Mark.
Good evening, Ox. How are we doing?
Good, mate. On a better for speaking to your good self, mate. How's things? How's life?
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. Listen, mate, we thank you for coming on the show, and it's great to have a guy who's such a fabulous and diverse career. And I want to take you back to the young Mark Hateley growing up when your father was a professional footballer. Was your dream to follow in his footsteps?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you're a young kid walking around, toddling around 4 or 5, you look at your dad, and I think in general your dad's often most boys' hero anyway, sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So mine just happened to be a top-class footballer. So pretty quickly I got into watching him, basically what he did, and how he kept fit, and all that sort of stuff. I was around training grounds from probably about the age of 4 or 5, getting ball around and just watching players coming in, coming out, and different sort of days of, say, I went in with them on a Monday after they'd won, what sort of the atmosphere was like. If it was a Monday where they'd lost, a different sort of atmosphere. So I've been in that sort of environment since, I'm going to say, 55 years of being amongst it, should we say. So, yeah, all the sort of stuff my dad did in, close season, did it with his press-ups and his sit-ups and all that lot. I tried to focus on doing a lot of that. I think it'd be scorned on right now because I don't like kids doing, too much physical work. I'm talking 5 and 6. I was doing sit-ups and press-ups and pull-ups and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, so the drive was there? The drive was there, yeah?
Yeah, the drive, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Where did you start playing football? Where did start organised football for you?
Organised football, really, it was. When you get to school, primary school, isn't it? It's. I'm going to say, and we moved to Nottingham when my dad was playing for Notts County, and it would have been in 1970. So I would have been 9ish, 8ish. So yeah, I've come into primary school in Nottingham, and then I was playing for all the different sort of levels. So I probably was in primary 1, primary 2, but I was playing for primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, primary 4. So I was playing with all the big boys at an early age, sort of stuff, So I couldn't get enough football down me. Sport in particular, rugby, cricket. I played all those sort of stuff, but it was, it was what it was back in the days. You used to run everywhere to play a game of football. You had nothing to do in the house, unlike today, where your mind's boggled with computers and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I was out running around. My dad never bought me a bike until probably it was last 6 months of school, and he said to me, he just said, but the fact is that I didn't give you a bike because it's you might want to make you run and get you fit, because if you want to be a footballer, that will be your basic. And I've moaned and cursed and cussed and had to run that 2 or 3 mile every day to play football with my pals on the park. But true to it, he was right. My dad was old school as well. He wasn't shy in shouting and sharing his frustration with me or anybody. To be fair.
Yeah, different generation, mate. Different generation. Just for the people who don't know, if you get the time, check out Mark's dad's career as well. At the time, he was a record signing for Chelsea. Wonder how much that'd be worth now. And also signed as a record signing at the time for Liverpool as well.
It was the first. He was the first £100,000 player.
Yep, unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Fantastic that he's drove you on, and then you started your career. Coventry City. How did that come about?
Coventry City came off the back of sort of, I'm going to say, a disappointment at first, but I won't say too much about that. You can read all about the book.
Yep.
You can, my dad made a phone call to Gordon Mill, and he was the manager there. And his right-hand man was a guy called Ronnie Wiley, who had played with my dad at Aston Villa. Put my name forward. He said, send him across. So I was there 2 or 3 days, and the rest is history, as I say. I signed apprenticeship, and then I signed professional forms very, very quickly. And I was playing in the first team at 17. Back in the heady first division days, with a very progressive thinking Jimmy Hill and the chairman and Joe Mercer, who was also a top class guy. So it was, I had a good look into the game at an early age through some good people.
And in the middle of that spell, you went to Detroit Express.
I did, because we had a partnership.
I thought they were a group.
Detroit Express, probably were though back in my day. I'm sure they were as well. But this is how forward thinking Jimmy Hill was. He had a partnership with Detroit Express where we would send players over to get experience, younger players, and one of our marquee players. To raise the profile of the club, and obviously where the league was back in that day, it was just in its infancy. But great to go and get some experience. It was sort of Carlos Alberto and Beckenbauer and Pele were still playing. George Best was still playing over there, sort of stuff. So I got the opportunity to go straight after the end of making a debut in the first season at 17, 18, going across and playing through their season, which was through our summer. We got back to Coventry. I got back to Coventry probably in the October, just as the season had started, and just cracked on with it. But that's how forward thinking and progressive Coventry City was. It was one of the first clubs to have its own training facility as well. So it was a good place to be. All bringing youngsters through. That was their style, pretty much to the format of a lot of Scottish football right now. Bringing players through and selling them on.
Right. Okay. Did you enjoy the time in America? Just briefly, did you enjoy it? It
got me out of the house. For my first trip was like 2 weeks to California to play 3 or 4 games, San Diego, San Jose, all those sort of places. And just a different lifestyle, basically, different type of football, playing against the big stars. One of my first games was against George Best when he was playing for San Jose. And I knew George from being a kid when we went on holiday to Mallorca. Sort of reintroduced myself because he knew my dad very well, obviously through the 60s and 70s, what have you. So, it was quite funny seeing the players that you've been watching on telly, and you probably icons of the game, your Beckenbauers and Peles and all that sort of stuff, and you were getting a game against them at such an early age, which is priceless.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Then you moved from Coventry to Portsmouth. Now, some people would say that was a step back, but for you, it was a springboard there.
Yeah, retrospective, that's what people said. I fell out with my dad for a long time because of that. But in my eyes, it was the right thing to do. I was going to go as an out-and-out centre forward. Bobby Campbell wanted me as an out-and-out centre forward, whereas at Coventry, I was sort of second or third in line for that spot. I was playing a left winger type thing. So I wanted to go and prove to myself, just to myself, really. That was my position. And as I say, the rest is history. He had a really good season, scored 24 goals in 35 games or 34 games or something, and played for the under-21s. Won that final, the European Championships.
Yep.
That scored in that final. Then it all went boom, boom, boom. Sort of played. Got my debut, full debut for England in American R. Scored the second goal, which is still the last Englishman to score a winning goal in American R. John Barnes scored that first one, but everybody forgets mine because it was just a good old-fashioned header at the far post. So,
are you claiming an assist? Are you claiming an assist for the first goal for Barnes' goal?
I brought the ball down on the chest. I must have been about 25 feet in the air to catch it. And I passed it out wide, and I was looking for the 1-2 as he was running up on that little slalom run of his. But no, he did. It was a fantastic goal. And after sort of that specific game, we both went on different tracks, should we say. He moved on to Liverpool, and I got the move to Milan on the back of that goal. So the move to the second division was really good. Yeah.
And so that was a springboard. The Milan deal, when you get the call saying AC Milan are interested in you, remember when it was, Italian football was massive. What was your thoughts?
Well, I always wanted to try and get abroad. I always wanted to try. I enjoyed the American experience. A different culture, different sort of people, obviously different way of playing the game. And I thought, when you're watching World Cups and you're looking at Brazil and all these sort of Argentina, the way they play the football and all this sort of stuff, the Italians play the football. That's something that I always wanted to do because I thought it would be, if I could learn to play that way, it would make me a better player and obviously, get me further up that ladder, as they say, because, you want to be the best that you can. And if you don't come out your comfort zone, you can never be the best you can. So that was always on the cards for me, but it came pretty early for me, far earlier than I thought it would ever do. So, I jumped at that. I jumped at that opportunity, and as I say, it went pretty well. I had a great manager while I was there. I learned a lot of stuff about football, the politics of football, the way our football clubs run. Working with the press, working against the press, all the politics involved with being at a top club. And Milan are that top club. They're a big business. And it was the perfect time for me because they were recreating themselves, should we say, from I think a betting scandal and some improper dealings or something or other. And they were coming back through the leads back in and sort of stuff. So it was a team that was. It was a team that was on the move. It was being created, should we say, from younger players, Oscar to Scotty Maldini. Those sort of players were young, and I was another young player coming in to make the numbers up. So
how hard was it to score goals in Italy, mate? Because
if you haven't got a technique, then it's more or less impossible. So the technique was worked on pretty quickly, and the fitness was not a problem. The endeavour, the force, the energy that I put into the game, that was never in doubt, sort of stuff. So I think what really took everybody back was how physical and the movement that I had for a young player. I think that caught a lot of people out very, very early on. While I was working with that, and they were trying to figure me out, my manager was working with his backroom staff to work on my positioning and all that sort of stuff. So it was ideal. A couple of afternoons a week, I'd go one-on-one with Niels Liedholm, who was ex-Swedish centre forward, played in the 58 World Cup final, scored in the 58 Pele Cup final. And he had so much time for me. So typical Swedish, so laid back, calm, cool. he just walked me through my paces where I should be and where I shouldn't be when certain stuff's being created. So, I was like a sponge. I was used to being on the training ground, so it went in pretty quickly. And as I say, once you've mastered that art of being a European striker, pretty much, if you're playing in Italy anyway, you pretty much can play anywhere in the world.
And the fans took to you because you scored the winning goals against Inter, which was the first time they'd beaten them in 6 years, I believe.
Yeah, that came pretty early. And, I get asked that question, what's your favourite goal? And I say there's goals, all your goals are favourites, but there's some throughout your career that establish you with the ranks and files of the supporters, which is very, very important for me anyway. And one of, that one, I think it was 5 games in, and to score a goal of that quality against their ex-captain and Calavati, who jumped ship when they got relegated down to the lower leagues. It was like all the planets aligned on that day for me. It was a terrific feeling. I didn't know the importance of it really till probably, I'm going to say 10 years after the event, if you know what I mean. But the fans still have a really good understanding and friendship with the Courbevoie Sud, which is like their ultras, which is basically a fantastic support there. And so they still talk about that. I go over every now and then to do things for them. Went over for the 50th anniversary. So it's always nice to be recognised as a guy that got the club going again.
Right. Well, you moved from Milan to Monaco. There's now a bit of glamour in both these areas, but how did that come about, the move to Monaco?
Well, I didn't fancy staying in Italy because I think the fact that I'd made such a good rapport with the Milanisti, I think it was only fair that I left because I couldn't see myself playing at another Italian club. Plus the fact that it was a different style of football, it was a different way of life as well, because I couldn't go out in Milan. It was absolutely mayhem. So Monaco was ideal for me. It was family around, walking around, no hassle, and it was a different sort of football and a different educational path as well. So I jumped on board for that. Won a title in my first year. Went to a cup final in my first year. So winning your first title, but what was it, 24, 25? It was all coming together, and the different style of football was coming together as well. So,
the man that signed you, did you think he was going to go to the top, Mr. Arsene Wenger?
Oh, very, very much so. Very intense, very driven, very, very, very in the future with everything he did around the training ground. His methods, they were incredible. And that's what the man was. He's a very intense young man. I think he's about 9 years older than me at the time. So he was always going to be a superstar manager for me. I think the fact, when he left Monaco, went to Japan to study there. I'm just going to say study their way of life, basically. And what they do in and around living, basically. It just shows you how deep he needed to go and wanted to go to understand, people in general. And when it came to Arsenal, there was no shadow of a doubt for me he was going to make them a great team.
Right. You played with some good players at Monaco as well, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're looking to win things and titles, invariably you do play with good players. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Jean-Luc Hateley, French international, Luc Sonor, French international, Luc Amos, another French international, Battiston international, Ramon Diaz partnered Maradona for Argentina. George Weah came in towards the end, just before I got an injury and what have you. Glenn Hoddle came in 2 or 3 weeks after I joined. So it was a great place to be, and a family, a royal family that were 100% behind you. They were always at the games, they were always on the road with us. It was always good to go out and have a beer with, Prince Albert, who's literally the same sort of stuff, So,
and then you had to learn your third language, French, Italian, and then you moved to Glasgow.
Glasgow and French is pretty much the same, isn't it? So no, I mean, Mr. Main, you come in. It was the right time for me to come back. I was on the back of a long injury. So
was it your ankle, Matt? Was it your ankle?
Yeah, it was my ankle. It was a similar sort of injury that the young Liverpool boy has just had. I can't remember his name now.
Rossiter?
No, the young boy that I think it was on one of the first league games. Anyway, it was a double dislocation.
Oh, the one at the Leeds tackle. Yeah. Harvey Barnes, is it? Harvey Barnes.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes. Yeah. So it was, it was a long one and a big one for me.
So you came
it was the right time as well in the age of my kids to be starting up at the school. There was like an international school, but the schooling was quite important for me. So the Scottish educational system gets a very good report. Well, did back then. I don't know what it is like now, but
it's changed a bit now, mate. Changed a bit now, but we'll go into that.
Kids really did do well when they came back. So it was all good. All went well.
So you've come into the club. You're not 100% fit. You score in your debut. Did you realise the environment you'd come into?
Yeah, sort of. I kept my eye on Rangers through my dad's footballing career, sort of stuff. First team I sort of really supported was when my dad was playing at Chelsea, and the likes of Gary Johnson, being there, and also the fact that I always supported the three teams: Chelsea, Rangers up north, and Nottingham Forest in the Midlands. And purely Nottingham Forest in the Midlands, it's only just to annoy my dad, really, because when he was playing for Notts County. So it was always an eye on the team and what they were doing, and even more so of an eye on the team when Graham Souness came in. So it was. I knew what was expected. I knew what the club was all about. I knew the history of the club and what it stood for, and they're all my traits, really.
You weren't a young man. You'd obviously served your time. You were 28 years of age when you came in to join us. And
I wish I was 28 years now. That would be.
Take 30, mate. Take 30. Yeah. But you've come in. You've started. Obviously not 100% fit, but slowly and slowly you grew into the role. Maybe I would say maybe about 6 months. Then you took off. Yeah.
Yeah. I was fit. I was super fit, but I wasn't football aware fit, if you know what I mean.
Right, okay. What's the difference? What's the difference for us mere mortals, Mark? What's the difference?
Well, they call it match fit. You have to think about the game all the time. You have to think about positions. You have to think about where people are. You have to think about where you are, and that takes a lot of you. That takes a lot of that headspace up during the game when it's happening and all around you, sort of stuff. So. Yeah, you can be as fit as you want, but if you haven't got that under your belt, it becomes a hard slog. I thought it would take me about 12 games. Probably took me about 24 games. It took me up to about, I'm going to say, February. And all of a sudden, everything just fell into place. It becomes second nature to Yorks. It's like getting in a car and driving a car. You don't have to think about driving a car. It all just happens. So it was the same that around about February. I'm going to say really for the running to the for the third title in a row, which is ideal is when all you want all your top players playing well for that part of the season through Christmas and to the running sort of stuff. So it worked out that way for me. And as I say, it's to finish the way I did on that season, last game of the season, scoring a couple of goals. Alex McLeish making me look like Pele that day. It was a huge moment for me.
Yeah, that was a fantastic header. That the cross come in from Matt Walters. If it serves me right. And then,
I did that all the time. Come on, Alex.
Yeah, I suppose you did, but that's one. The noise and the atmosphere, and what the big question is, what happened the week before at Murrable?
Oh, man, I took her eye off again. Probably. That was probably what it was.
Yeah, but it was well, you get the both goals that day, and that set you on your path to become. You'd also won the League Cup that year, beating Celtic 2-1 in the final. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It became an absolute pleasure to go to work. It did after February.
Right. Okay.
When everything fell into place.
Right. Well, no mention the game in March then, when you get your first red card against a certain team. We'll leave that one out. Yeah.
Oh, probably. Well, why not? Yeah, listen. I'd had plenty of yellow, red cards up to that time anyway, so I was used to that.
Was it the first time I seen you get sent off? I think you were involved with a wee incident with Ray Stewart, if my memory serves me right, at Hampden.
Yeah. I was another 21 at Hampden, I think. Yeah, what to do? So I think I kicked him clean in the nuts, I think. Or he kicked me clean in the nuts, and I just turned around and landed one right in his chin.
So you've took off. Obviously, you've been there when the management's changed. Graham signed you, and then Walters took over. Was there a notable change of atmosphere at the club, or was it seamless?
I think it was a shock. A shock, but it was clever work from David Murray. Because obviously he wanted the team to continue in the same manner, in the same vein of form that we showed over the period. So it was, he was the man that was driving the club. He was the man that was supplying all the funds for Graham. And to be fair, he came and asked the question, to some of the experienced players, who do you think? And I think a resounding vote back to him was, he's already here. He's not been a manager, but put your faith in him. So that's what he did. He knew the players, we knew him, and as I say, the rest is history. It was a match made in heaven. Walter, a very clever man, knew how to handle all of us. And I'm going to say all of us because that team was just a massive team of egos. So they wanted to win things and live life, sort of stuff.
But the next season, you've won the league again, and you've not won the League Cup, but you've got your first Scottish Cup medal, and you scored a goal in the final, which was the first cup we'd won for a few years, 2-1 against Airdrie, yeah? You've been there for a couple of years and get the full set of medals, and we're going for success. And then the next season, did you see that coming? 92, 93, mate? Did you see it coming?
Listen, can I just say, see, when you've got a great team and great character, when they start to win things, that means that just drives good players and great players. It drives them even more to win more things, because that's how they set the stall out. They don't set out to win one or two things. They set out to try and win everything that they possibly can. And the team I played in, I mean, all through that period. I mean, it was a nucleus of, 16 players, which had players coming and going from that period, through that period.
Yeah, that'd be fair. That'd be fair.
They were all driven to win and win and win. You know, not winning, I think winning for each other as well, which was important.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that their greatest attribute was the fact that they were a team first and foremost?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
You know, I mean, obviously you've won the treble, and in our eyes as supporters, we were robbed of a European Cup final, and we could have been favourites against one of you. Well, we might not have been favourites, but we'd have definitely had a fighting chance with that squad to compete against Milan in the final. Ultimately, a big story. I know you were part of it, and it's going to be mentioned in your book.
Yeah. Listen, it is a big story, and it's a good read in the book. But all I'll say on that is, I said to Walter at the start of that when the groups got drawn, I said we can get to the final here because we have a team that can win away from home. You know, we were built to play away. You know, we could defend. We wouldn't lose at home, and we would win away from home. You know, because teams come on the front foot to you, and the way that we were set up defensively, and the flair we have in midfield, and the guys we have up front, myself and Alistair, and what have you. You know, on any given day, either one of us would score a goal. So you know, I just went to him and I said, we can get all the way here. You know, with the way we were playing.
The Battle of Britain, the back of stage, when obviously two tremendous games. As an Englishman playing in Scotland, did it give you a sense of pride?
Yeah, I just wanted to stuff it right up the English press. That was the motivation for everybody. You know, it's you know, management team, Walter and Archie. That's what they were forcing that. They were driving that. You know, they didn't diffuse the fact that the English press, or most of the press, I was going to say, was, you know, had us beat before we'd even kicked a ball in the first game. So that was the carrot that drove us over those two games. You know, plus the fact I wasn't getting picked to play for England as well, so that was another incentive for me.
Oh, and what a goal! What was that? The second minute, was it? The second minute?
Yeah, it's going to be within the first 5 minutes anyway.
Just check the time.
Yeah, I scored a similar sort of goal against Motherwell. Literally, I'm going to say about 7 games before that, into the Copeland Road end. But the other corner, from a similar sort of angle. But that was more of a loopy type goal, and obviously the one at Leeds was a driven goal, you know, because there was less space, and I think a bit tighter because I was running slightly away from goal to be able to try and emulate the Motherwell goal. So it had to go in the near post, and it had to go in with force. And you know, it was early in the game, probably caught the goalkeeper off guard. I don't know, but you know, I think the shock to everybody that Ian Durrant won the header. That's a shock to everybody. And as I say, we went 1-0 up, and sort of that was it for us. I think as soon as we got that goal, that took us to 3-1 up sort of stuff, and they had a lot to do then. And the more they committed, the more they were at risk. So
officially, it was the third minute, mate. The third minute, and you played an instrumental part in scoring a second goal when you put a fabulous cross for a great pass for Ian Durrant at Ellen Road, mate, and that really sealed the victory.
Yeah, that took me back to my Coventry days, where I started on the left wing. A bit of centre forward knowledge, dragging a full back into a place where it didn't need to be. And they lay off, and then the spinning behind, and Ian knew exactly what was going to happen there, you know. And I absolutely knew that Alistair was not going to link up there. He was always going to be shooting off, and he would know what I was going to be doing, and I was going to know what he's doing, and Ian would have known the same thing. So the tap under the player understanding, and he just knocked the ball perfectly for me into a space. I took it on, and I took it on again, and I took it on for another touch because after 2 touches, the centre half hadn't come far enough across. If you understand, to leave like a one-on-one or isolated at the far post. So I had another touch until that centre half was drawn towards me, and then soon as that happened, that was the trigger. And then I was going to say, all I'm going to say is it was a world-class cross. I must admit.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Because Alistair wasn't the best header of the balls, but he nailed it on that occasion, and rightly so, took us through to the group stages.
The first group stages. Listen, don't worry about it. If he'd have missed it with his head, it'd have hit his shoulder and still went in, yeah?
Oh, hit him on the arse or something like
that. But fabulous night for the fans, fabulous night for the club. We didn't know where the Champions League was going to take us. That was a great adventure, and obviously sent off against Bruges the night that Scott Nisbet scores that famous goal, and I think you felt that things weren't quite right. And I don't want to go into it because it's only fair. I think you've got your book coming out, and it's going to be touched on that. But that was a great season. You scored again in a treble-winning cup final at Celtic Park. I think it was you and Neil Murray that scored. There's a bit of trivia.
Yeah, absolutely. Neil Murray. Yeah, myself and Neil Murray. So we could have won. I think the only thing we didn't win, or I didn't win that year, was the Eurovision Song Contest. we won a treble. I think did I get a golden boot that year? Not sure.
You scored. Let me just look. But it was a year later. You scored 30 goals. That was your top league games, and then you got the Scottish Footballers Writers Award for. Arguably, believe it or not, that might have been your best personal season, 93, 94.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But it was a great time. I mean, we say 92, 93, 93, 94, 95, whatever, 90, 91. They were all brilliant years for me. Really, really, top enjoyment. Loved everything I was doing. I was loving life. Everybody was on a different level of when you have so much going and so much joy in your life with fans and football and all that sort of stuff. That's what it was all about. I've always been a football fan. I've always enjoyed my players to give everything they've got, and we gave everything we got over that period, and we all enjoyed it all together. I must admit, we shared many, many moments and many, many nights at supporters clubs, as we did back in the day there. 2 or 3 of us would go on a Saturday night somewhere, and 2 or 3 others would go somewhere else. And that's the sort of relationship we had with the fans. And, I really enjoy that side of the game.
Meeting the punters. I suppose they pay your wages now.
See, when you understand and you meet the supporters and you see what it means to them personally, all right? That means something to the player, to see how important that is. And I think it gives the player probably another 5 or 10%. When you're thinking, I'm on a shit day, you say, and then you think about that night you was in that supporters club and what have you, and you understand how much it means to them. And on some days, that's where you get that little push, that you need, and how much it means to people.
Did obviously you knew Rangers, but did you really know Rangers till then?
Well, I don't think you can really ever know anything or know anybody until you've actually been in their presence. Your people say all about him, and he's a great guy. He's not a nice guy. Until you've been in the presence of somebody or in the presence of some people for a period, then you never truly understand what they are or what they're about. But it was pretty quick. You know, I knew how big the club was and what it was, you know, what it was all about, sort of stuff. I pretty much figured it all out pretty quickly. You know, it was a great place to be, a great place for my family to be, and as I say, it doesn't get anything better. It just doesn't get any better than that for me.
Okay. Well, you left us in '95, moved to Queen's Park Rangers. I don't obviously think injuries kicked in. There was a lot of turmoil there. The late great Ray Wilkins was involved.
Yeah.
You also went to Leeds United for a short period, and then the move back to Rangers. Tell us how that came about, Mark.
I think it came out of frustration. Frustration on my part. I didn't enjoy Queen's Park Rangers. I enjoyed the league for a bit. You know, the bit I got away from QPR, and it was just a phone call on a Thursday from my agent wanting to know if I'd go back to Rangers. You know, and I said in no uncertain words, you know, which could not be aired. You're having a joke, aren't you? Because in my mind, I always wanted to finish my career, my top class career at Rangers. And the chance, the fact, obviously, we were down on numbers and we were struggling to get a team out. And the fact that door opened up for me, you know, I quickly put my foot in that door and walked through it, sort of stuff. Big pressure. I didn't really think about it too much. I just wanted to go up there and help the boys win a game. So. That could have been like. Listen, at the end of the day, when you look back into it, that's what I could have been, what I could have been remembered for. You know, I could have gone back there. We could have lost that game, and that's what they'd have remembered me for. You know, I came back and lost, and I think everything that I'd done before would have probably gone by the way. So it's, you know, lucky for us, we won. Yeah,
we did. And you got another red card against another certain team. I don't know. There's a theme here. I don't know. But
Graham always said if we're under the cosh and in trouble, you know, somebody punch somebody kick somebody, start a fight. You know, because it rallies everybody together. 10 men sometimes work better than 11, and it gets the fans up. And you know, as I say, there's always more than one way of skinning a cat, and that day was pretty much the same. We were on a bit of a high. We'd got the goal, we were getting a bit of a battering, and that was that. So red card came off, I went, and as I say, we went on to win the game and duly celebrated that occasion for, I think, 2 or 3 days.
It pretty much clinched 9 in a row. The arithmetic wasn't quite there. But we done it a few weeks later. Away at Tannadice, you scored your last goal at Ibrox. Yeah. And then you moved on to Hull City. And there you had a touch in management, yeah? How did you find that?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I was working with a real difficult chairman of that time. Listen, I don't want to go in too much into that, but that's another good story for the book. It's working with David Lloyd, obviously ex-tennis player. Let's say his vision of how a football club should be run and my vision of how a football club should be run were polar opposites. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the players, putting my ideas onto the pitch. Billy Kirkwood was the number 2 there, who's still at Rangers now. It was good. Billy, it was a tough thing, but roll your sleeves up and get on with it.
Are you glad you done it? Are you glad you done
in the league anyway?
Are you glad you done the management side?
Yes, I did. I got a little bit frustrated. I think if to be fair, if I probably should have done things pretty much a little bit more my way. But as I say, it was a good experience under difficult circumstances. Not only on the field but off the field, it was a difficult time for me. So yeah, but as I say, it's just part of the game. Football is football, and you get to have a look at that side of it, and it's completely different to being a player.
We were talking before we come on air, and you gave me a stat that actually surprised me. I know obviously your father, a pro, yourself, Tom Hateley, along with people at the Maldinis, the Vice, Vladimir Vice that played with Rangers. There's no many people done it, and you gave me a stat. The Hateleys have been playing professional football for how many decades now?
From the 50s, in every decade from the 50s up to current. Yeah.
Wow. And what do you make of the present going on at Ibrox just now? What do you think of the job that Stephen Gerrard's done, Mark?
Oh, honestly, it's a fantastic job, but it doesn't surprise me because you only have to look at Stephen on just how he plays and how he conducts himself. You know, he's a man of extreme loyalty, as he's proven at Liverpool. You know, a one club man, stuck with it. But he brings a professionalism to the club that was lacking in my eyes, and it had been lacking for a while. You know, his energy he brings. I mean, he's forthright. He doesn't pull his punches. He always says it as it is, and that's the only way you can be with the media and with your own players. Mm-hmm. You have to be honest with yourself, which he is, and that's why he was the great player he was. He stood his things to a level, and then he moves on. He doesn't ponder. He doesn't let that will lie with him, I think. And that's what great players have always been able to do. You know, they play a bad game, they drop it, and they assess it and move on, and make sure that doesn't happen again. And that's what Stephen has brought to the club. He's brought that level of wanting to win, the winning mentality, as everybody calls it, which he had in abundance as a player, and he's done it seamlessly. His transition from being a player into being a manager by surrounding himself with good people, intellectual people. It's like any business. If you can surround yourself with smart people and smarter people than yourself, then it makes you look good. And I think he's done everything absolutely brilliantly. And long may that continue.
Yeah. Listen, we were chatting before we come on air, and I just want to ask you, because this blasted me. You had your 11-a-side team. You picked an 11-a-side team for the guys you played with. Yeah. It's pretty frightening, eh? Let's hear it.
Well, listen, Gorham gets in.
Right.
Billy gets in, and I played with Peter Shilton, Jean-Luc Hector, Garley, all international goalkeepers for Italy, France, England. He gets the number 1 jersey, and you got your Franco Varese, Costa Curta, Tassotti, Maldini. That's my Milan back. That was my Milan back 4 when I played at Milan.
Wow.
You have Laudrup on one side, John Barnes on the other side. You have Brian Robson as your holding midfield player or whatever, because he could run and got 3 sets of lungs. And you've got Glenn Hoddle, who I think is probably the greatest number 10 that probably played the game of football. Both feet, couldn't run and couldn't tackle, but he could find a centre forward anywhere on the park. And then Paolo Rossi, who I played with in my second year at Milan, and George Weah, who I played with at Monaco. And I put myself on the bench probably with Alistair, Goffey, and a few others, which were unfortunately didn't make the team. So great. It's a great side, and it's a team that could probably, play at a very high level right now.
Oh yeah, I don't know how much that team would be worth in the water. Yeah. Frightening. Listen, Mark Hateley, thanks for taking the time to come and join us in Rangers Radio. It's been great just having a small insight into a professional footballer's career and your career with Rangers. All the best for the book. I believe you've got possibly some signing dates coming out. You let us know.
We've got a couple of sign-in dates in and around a couple of games in early November.
Right.
So just watch this space. So more to come. So looking forward to engaging with the fans again.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Thanks for taking the time. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed your insight. Really enjoyed your honesty and how humble you are, mate. And thanks again for joining us here.
You're welcome, Ox, and all keep safe out there.
All right. Cheers, mate. Take care.
Take care. Hello, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, welcome back to the show. Mark had to go, but thanks for everybody for taking the time to listen. I'm back upstairs here, and I've been joined by Big Stevie and Bridgeman. Evening, gents.
Good evening. How is one? That was fantastic, eh?
Still a wee bit starstruck, mate, you know? Still a wee bit starstruck. I'm only talking about the new look in the room.
How you doing, Big Stevie?
I'm absolutely gutted, mate. Gutted.
You're gutted?
I can't believe I never got in that team. I can't believe I never got in that team.
You never get mentioned in the team? Well, there you are.
Gutted.
There you are.
What a humble man, Steve, here.
Absolutely brilliant, Ox. Absolutely fantastic. I'll never forget the goal at Leeds and the goal at Ibrox that he done off. Oh man, he was up there. Oof, good night, Vienna. Fantastic player, and I always remember when we re-signed him for the Celtic game. He put he put the fear of God into them. By the way,
he did indeed. Well, by the way, I have to say this. If anybody asks me,
carry on, Stevie. One at a time.
The psychological thing against them, that he killed them stone dead. He put the fear of God into the Ox. It's absolutely fantastic. And Bridgeman will probably elaborate on what I'm saying there.
And you come, Bridge, and you come, mate. And you come.
Sorry about that, I was getting excited there. That's
I was going to phone Mrs. Bridge.
Believe me, it's one of when MD mentioned Mark Hateley, the two games that you mentioned, Big Stevie, is the Leeds game down at Elland Road. The two goals scored there were two of the best goals you could ever see in European football. Absolutely brilliant. The lead up to them, superb, absolutely brilliant. And then that game at Parkhead, seriously, he came there and he absolutely caused Celtic Park to crumble. They didn't know what to do with the boy. The boy was charging at everybody, 100% rate. They didn't know what to do. Unbelievable stuff. I just loved it. I think that guy was great. We should give him a knighthood for what he did for Rangers.
He became really consistent for us, Stevie. He was one of these guys who regularly scored. It was a team player. Yeah, actually, I remember seeing him playing at centre half or sweeper, if you like, at Kilmarnock one day. He played for us down there after they won the league. But what struck me before we came on air is how humble the guy was and how grateful he was, and that surprises me. Somebody who's played World Cups and the guys he's played with, and that came through more than the football stories, if I'm being honest, Stevie.
Aye, you've got to remember now, but Ox, he's hanging about with Southside now. He's got to be humble, isn't he? Southside's getting him tickets for the game now. Unbelievable. No, you're totally right. The glittering career the man had, and how he talks about the Rangers and how the man acts. He's a credit himself, you know what I mean? A big gentleman. And by God, I mean, I believe he's still doing stuff for Rangers behind the scenes. Is that correct, Ox?
Not at the moment, mate. Yeah.
No, I thought he was.
Do your homework before you come on this show.
Stevie.
Tearing the belt.
Oh my God, Ox, what are you like?
He's a disgrace. That's what he is.
Aye, look, goals, Scottish Cup finals, part of the League Cup final winning team, scored goals that won as a league, a big part in a team that some people, and myself included, Bridgeman would say, were robbed a European Cup.
Oh yes, most assuredly. There's a lot of feeling about that throughout all the Bears in about the Rangers area at that time. Seriously, were robbed. we were robbed, and that's for sure. Shocking, just shocking.
Yes, mate.
I believe he's doing a lot of positive media stuff for the Rangers at the moment.
Yeah, mate, he's doing a lot of the fans media. Obviously, him and Alec Ray have got their own podcast. We never go to that, time constraints, mate, and I think we could have been on for another 2 hours if I'm being honest, mate, but obviously people have got schedules, you know.
Guy's got a book to come out as well, or you would have been on all night, eh? And I'll definitely be. He's took time to come on Rangers Radio, which I think the world did a big man for doing, so I'll certainly be going out and buy his book. Excellent stuff.
Here, pal.
And Bridge, man, what about that team? What happened to the teammate?
Oh, did you like the centre backs, Bridge? What a defence.
Yeah. The guy knows about football, doesn't he? He knows a wee bit about football. Gee whiz. Fabulous. Just thinking of all these players that he's played with. Unbelievable. A Rangers player playing with all these stars from all over the different countries of the world.
You liked Baresi, Bridge, didn't you?
Oh, Baresi, he's a king. He is the king.
I like Maldini, mate. Just when I looked at Maldini, it was like looking in the mirror, mate, you know.
You think I had black hair and that's it?
You know what I mean? Everything, the way he played, the way he looked, everything. It just to see everybody.
He was a class act. Maldini, class act. Back that is class act.
Oh, what a player! What a defence, Bridge! What a defence!
Wow, seriously, I'm gobsmacked. You know, Baresi. I just think Mark Hateley played with Baresi. What would I give to play with him? Just for 5 minutes. My God.
What about Bridgeman? What about his family? Have been playing for the 50s? Did they say pro football for the professional football for the 50s?
Well, the old man, Tony Hateley. Tony Hateley was the highest transfer.
It was the first 100,000.
First 100,000 player, but he was a fantastic player. You know, he really was. Great centre forward, man. Great.
When he went to Chelsea for £100,000, Stevie, that was at their time was a record transfer. A few years later, he went to Liverpool for £96,000, which was their record transfer at the time. So that shows you how good a player his old man was.
Tony Hateley was a smashing player, really, really well thought of. I can't remember just how long it took Mark to get to on people's lips the same as his old man was. You know, it's really difficult to say, but his old man was a super player. I mentioned
his dad the day to Fox, Tony Hateley, and he says,
"That's right, yeah."
What are we getting somebody for Spandau Valley on for?"
Oh, goodness, that's brilliant. That's a really good one.
Oh, I was wetting myself. What are you on about Fox? You know?
Oh, I hope Big Mark's not listening to you. Oh, brilliant for the Fox. Brilliant. Did he took his medication before he...
I don't know if he was winding me up and he was deadly serious, but I was killing myself. You know? So you might get gold for the tune tonight. Oh, dear. Great. Right, look, you two get yourselves on mute. We'll get these phone lines open. We're going to hear to Gary McAllister. No right after the tune, but we'll be hearing from him in the last hour of the show. But once again, thanks for Mark Hateley, for everybody here at Rangers Radio, and thanks to Casby Shettleston's old man for getting that sorted. Get yourselves a mute. We're having a tune.
And there in fact goes the final whistle. And Rangers, the Scottish Premier champions, have won the best of British Clash. And he comes ahead of David McMahon. The line was missing goal. Rangers have scored. It's 2-1 for Rangers. Rings now. Hateley with the first shot. Oh, brilliant goal! Mark Hateley has scored for Rangers.
Know the streets be broad and narrow, follow him. will. Follow, we will. Follow, we will. Though the streets be broad and narrow, we'll follow, we will. We will follow in the footsteps of our team. Follow, we will follow Rangers. Everywhere, anywhere, we will follow. From the Hamilton, even up to Aberdeen. Should they go to Dublin, we will follow.
He was 50 yards out from goal on the left-hand side, and he walloped it first time, and the goalkeeper never even saw it.
There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers. No, not one, and there never shall be one. Celtic know all about their troubles. We will fight till the day is done. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers. No, not one, and there never shall be one.
Brilliant run by Hateley, drifting left towards the end of the penalty area. Swings the ball back across McCoy. Oh, McCoy to score for Rangers! A superb goal! Walter Smith turned into Lutzes.
There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers. No, not one, and there never shall be one. We are the Rangers boys. We'll go with by our noise. We'll be waiting to see them looks all around. For we are the Glasgow Rangers boys. We are the Rangers boys. We'll go with by our noise. We'll be waiting to see them bring the Tigers all away. For we are the Glasgow Rangers boys.
Durant found Hateley running across the left side. A ball played across, and McCoy's coming in, heading it first time for his 29th goal of the season, and Scotland's goal king strikes again.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And I love Gallus. I love to see boys with Gallus.
The Mark Hateley book is Mark Hateley Hitting the Mark by Alistair Aird. Alistair, who's been on the show on several occasions, has wrote the book, and Hitting the Mark Hateley book. It's coming out, I believe, October. Watch this space for signing opportunities that I think it would be potentially in the club shop, maybe. But we'll get the details. We'll let everybody know. Might be a good read, Stevie.
100%. You have a few stories to tell you. It was interesting to hear him there after they won the game at Park. He just says, the usual, without 3 days celebrating. You can just imagine them all, What a team. The team that played together, drank together, that's what they said, wasn't it? Unbelievable team. And that song, Foxford on there, some of the commentary through that song, I mean, I was at the games, man. The memories are just brilliant. I think it was Big George Logan that said the other night his best pairing would have been Hateley and McCoist, and I think that would have been the same for me. And if my top front two that I've ever seen would be Hateley and McCoist, aye.
There's a two. Hard to argue with that. I think if you go back, there was a season where maybe Smith and Johnston, 77, 78, when you look at the history books, and Hateley McCoy's, because of the level, the amount of silverware, coming back for injuries, the combination, the players that had came round about them, they were all good players. What about like it? No, Mo Johnson, Kevin Drinkle, they seen them all off, and they were the top kids, mate,
Aye. They would have been my top two, 100%. I know there was a wee phase where the big Hateley fella we wasn't liked at first. I think it was because McCoy's was sitting on the bench and Souness preferred Hateley and Johnson, wasn't it? But again, when McCoy's they were telepathic. Hateley knew where he was. Hateley would always know where to nod that ball down to him. The knock-on or play him through. He knew where he would be.
We could have talked all night and gone into all that as well, mate. There was so much stuff there. I mean, to talk, we never even mentioned he playing at the World Cup in Mexico in '86, mate. He played in the games. He obviously was on the bench when the hand of God, and he played the game, some of the games before that. So, I mean, we never even get into that. Just unbelievable, and that's without getting into the McCoy's Hateley partnership itself, mate.
How many caps did he get, Ox?
32. 20 starts, 12 as a substitute.
Unreal. What a glittering career, by the way. And again, I can't keep thanking the big man and take the time out and come on the show. Brilliant.
All right. Listen, come and join us. Give your thoughts. We'll leave it again tomorrow night. Thoughts, Big Stevie?
On the game?
Yeah.
Listen, I think the bells will... I've been listening to the show the last few, and I think we're all getting a wee bit... we've got a bit of itchy feet. I know we're a hard crowd to please and whatever, but we just need to remember we're top of the league. We know we've not hit the ground running this season. I think tomorrow, cup game, one after, Livingston are a wee hard team to beat, but I think we'll do all right. I think we'll grab them, folks. I really do. I think we'll go it because... I think they owe us a performance, if you know what I mean. I think they'll get tomorrow with a bit between their teeth, and I think we'll get a performance. We're a hard team to beat at Ibrox. Despite what everybody's getting a wee bit itchy feet because we got a draw against Motherwell, I think we'll give them tomorrow easy. I think we Morelos will get a couple tomorrow. There you go.
All right. Bridgman?
Yeah, I can't disagree with everything he said there. It's... last time we saw them at Ibrox, so it's just the beginning of the season there, and we trounced them. Every part of football we trounced them. Now I don't know whether they're trounceable now because they've just beaten. I can't just believe that a result actually took place. Livingston beat the best team in the world. I just can't believe that. So it's a wee bit of a stretch, And then to go out there and play against a team full of Ange balls. Oh, come on. The pressure kidding us on. No, really. The Livingston should have, similar to Motherwell, I must admit, they shouldn't be in the same park as us. And I hope they don't do the same thing as Motherwell did, because that is going to waste football. I don't know, somebody saw the stats. You can maybe, if you've seen them and you know them, Ox, you can maybe talk about them later.
Was in play for 32 minutes, but mate,
something like that.
That's gone. But you'd be surprised in a normal game how little the ball's in play.
I was going to say the amount of times that the Motherwell players were actually just dropped to the ground and sat there for 3 or 4 minutes, and they'll get a minute added on.
You think it when you played every time you kicked it when out the park?
Not quite, but not far away.
Sometimes it had the body attached to it.
You're right. But I'm hoping that Livingston come and play similar to what they did against them across the road, and we'll see what happens. And I'm quite sure we've got the people that can beat them. We've already beat them this season, so what's to worry about?
Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll hear from Gary McAllister, and then we'll get a couple of callers. We'll get that, so we'll get a picture about tomorrow night, and we'll bring him in. That sound like a plan, Stevie?
That sounds like a plan to me, Ox. Get the callers.
Let's hear from Gary McAllister.
Gary, obviously great success in the league last year for Rangers, but with regards to the Cups, how big a priority is that for you guys this season?
No, it's massive. I've really got to emphasise the point that this is a really big game for us against Livy. You know, with the incentive of getting to Hampden, and then obviously getting back there for a cup final. And it's an early end to a cup competition as well, with a December final. So it's such a big game for us. We're being very diligent in our preparation for this one.
And in terms of priorities, where does the cup rank?
Well, listen, over the years, you know, I would say south of the border as well, you know, that effectively it's known as the League Cup in both countries, that people have got this sort of observation that it might be the least of your priorities, but it's not the case. You know, we want to continue the way this club has won things over the years, and it would be nice to. But first and foremost, we're going to get through this tie and get to Hampden for the semi.
On the start of the season, is it encouraging that despite maybe a mixed start, you're still top of the league, you're 4 points ahead of what would be your maybe biggest rivals for the title this season, and you are in this quarterfinals of the cup, maybe given you're not firing on all cylinders? Yeah,
well, you know, if you'd said at the start of the season we'd be in this position where we're sat today, we'd probably have took it. But us being who we are and the standards that are set, and the players would agree with me as well, we feel as if we should have a few more points. But as you say, you know, it can't be that bad. We're sat top of the league and we've got a chance to get to a semi-final. So loads to play for. So again, I want to emphasise how important this game is tomorrow night.
What did you make of the weekend? More drop points there. How much of a concern is it that the teams maybe struggling to put teams away in the same fashion as last season, when, especially at Ibrox, you were winning? Yeah.
So I think you would agree we bossed most of the game with good possession. I thought looking at try to pick some positives from the game. You know, I thought first half we played some really exciting football, good on the eye. But I would mirror some of the words the manager said after the game. I think we need to have a wee bit more, you know, a wee bit more devilment in our finishing, and a wee bit more oomph, so to speak, and just a wee bit more belief, because leading up to the corners of the box and getting into the box, I believe we're playing some decent stuff. But there just needs to be that wee bit more hunger and desire to score.
First of all, could I have a team update or a squad update for tomorrow night, and particularly the status of Yanis Hadji and Ryan Jack?
Well, Yanis is fine and he trained. He's back and trained. He looked pretty sharp. Ryan Kent is obviously he's going to be missing. The positive would be Nathan, who's been nursing that little ankle since being away with the national team. I think he picked it up against Moldova. So he trained, you know, and looked sharp this morning, and will come into contention with a few others. Jacko's just he's still missing from the training, and it's just he's still working to get back to fitness.
The manager spoke at the weekend about the defence, and he said it hasn't quite been as certain as it looked last season, where it was very much on the front foot. As a coaching staff, what do you need to do to get that back, to get the defence with that kind of incredible solidity it had last year?
Yeah, just the coming together and having that togetherness and that organisational level, and it's fine detail. And I think that's the thing that we've been pressing on to, not only just the back line, but all over the pitch, because we start defending from the front. But it's just those little fine details. We just feel as if we're coming away from the game plan a touch and not following the fine details on the strengths of the opponents. So we've just got to get back and fully concentrated, but just take care of the fine details, because we're getting caught by sucker punches on little lapses of, I feel, of concentration, and just concentrating on these little fine things.
Afternoon, Gary.
Hi, Mark.
In some of the games in the last couple of seasons, I felt because Tav and Barisic are such great crossers, it's I wouldn't say an easy option, but it's a very open option for Rangers to move out to the wide areas. Whereas on Saturday, particularly the first half, you saw Kamar and Fashion actually and Aribo actually attacking and playing through the defence,
yes,
very effectively with short passing moves. Is that something that you're well, I imagine you always get your eye on it, but is it something you're really looking to develop now?
Well, it's sucked a great deal at the training. You've observed it. So that obviously when teams come to Ibrox, they tend to defending a very low block and defending numbers. So we've got to try and find ways of breaking that down. And obviously, getting the ball wide to two people whose delivery is probably be able to, go through and maybe look to go over as well. So it's the things you've come up against when you play against loads of defenders and a team that defends very low. So we've got to just try and find a way.
Thanks for that, Fox, old school boy. Aye, well, no real hints of the team, but obviously Nathan Patterson's back fit, which is good. We've been wondering where he is, and I think we all forgot he got injured playing for Scotland, if we're being honest. Hadji back, which is brilliant. No, there's been times we've missed Hadji, I must admit. And if he continues his development, mate, we have got a good player on our hands. Consistency, he's only young, he's definitely got ability. And against some of these teams, Stevie, he can open them up.
100%, Ox. We know he's got that ability to an eye for a pass, a cut and pass through, and we could have probably been doing with that on Sunday there, if we were honest. But I think Gary McAllister summed it up for me when he says that we're just lacking that wee bit of deadly finishing up there up front, a wee bit of, our confidence up front. We come away for the game plan a wee bit, he says. I think if we can tweak that and get that right, I think you'll see us hitting the ground running again. Look, we're top of the league. We're playing tomorrow night to get into the semi-final and get to Hampden in the Cup. We're in a good place. As he said, we probably would have all took it, but us being us, the bar was set that high last year. It does look for us this year because we've set our own standards,
Yeah. All right, we'll be joined by Andy Phillips. Evening, Andrew.
Good evening, Ox, Stevie.
Good evening, Andy.
Hi, Andy. All right, everything? I'm okay, Andy.
Aye, not too bad. Listen, it's nights like this that I'm glad I found Rangers Radio. It makes us the premium show around there. To listen to that guy speak like that with the fondness of Rangers, talking about, going around the clubs like they used to do back in my day with 2 or 3 players at certain clubs or functions. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I remember him when we got knocked out of the Greek mob years ago, and he came out and he said, look, we can't play like this. If we get 110% for the Rangers fans, they'll back us to the hilts. And it's just, what an absolute pleasure. I felt my heart with pride listening to that guy. You could just see he wanted to say more about the Rangers. Absolutely fantastic. And I just like to think he's absolutely great. What a show.
Then?
No me, mate. No me. Not going to thank me for.
Is that you talking about Oxford or Mark Hateley?
Oh, Oxford. Well, he's all right. He just sits in the background. He keeps picking on me.
I'm just joking with you, pal. Just joking with you.
I can't. I used to have a bit of confidence when I come into this show, but I'm sinking further and further down now. Especially if Hawks and Big Al's having a go at me at the same time.
You're not phoning this to Lanzarote, are you?
No, definitely not. He actually put it in the bloody in the feed as well. I'm in Lanzarote.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's just superb.
Yeah, what an absolutely fantastic show, and that's what makes it, in my opinion, makes it the premium show out there. There is nobody that can touch Rangers Radio, and I can listen to that all night, and I don't usually listen back to I just like to go listen live and read what's in the feed, but I can honestly tell you in the morning there at my work, I'm going to put that on and listen again. What an absolute gentleman. Just brilliant, like you said.
Yeah,
came across brilliant.
Yeah.
Big Stevie, I'm coming back to you, Andy. Big Stevie, going back to Gary McAllister. It's a quarter-final of the Cup tomorrow, and but you knocked out at this stage last year, so we want to keep going 2 better, yeah? Well, 3 better. We want to get to the semi, get to the final, and win the competition, yeah?
Make a mistake about it. We're Glasgow Rangers. Everything we enter, we want to win. Plain and simple as that. Everything we enter, we're one to win. We don't go out with we'll be happy here with a draw. We want to win every game that we play in, and it's important to Zamora that we win tomorrow. Give the home crowd a good performance and get into the semi-final of that trophy. And can I just say, Andy for Leeds, it'll no belong to the Totti for Lanzarotti's broken backs and fags and drink. I'd like to drink it.
Well, we're putting about 60 orders for taps like that. He said he's going to get them all, but I'll see. We'll see, won't we? You know,
the Totti for Lanzarotti, brilliant, big Stevie, brilliant. The Totti for Lanzarotti.
If it puts on a fleece, he'll get them all up his jumper, mate.
Oh no! You want to see the size of him? It's absolutely terrible. He went out there at 20 stone. He's coming back at 24. Unbelievable.
Bridgeman, he's in the same par with the Derry Donkey. The
Derry Donkey.
The Derry Donkey.
The Derry Donkey. I love that. The Totti for Lanzarotti and the Derry Donkey. Absolute class. Different class, guys. Different class. Just love it.
I've got to fond of the Derry Donkey and I love the Totti for Lanzarote, you know what I mean? No, I don't mind a bit of Totti in Lanzarote, but that's a different conversation.
I was thinking a different Totti there, no?
That's right. Exactly. He's stuck with that now, Andy, but just leave it. We'll deal with it quietly. It's his own fault for trying to think he was bumming. Yeah, we'll deal with it, yeah.
Oh, I know. They phoned us after, what they call it, after the show. He's 2 hours later, like, he's trying to do his poses there. He wants to stay him. He's still not getting that played off the ground on Thursday.
No for me. And fuel's going up, mate. Anyway, we've been joined by Amanda. Evening, Amanda.
Evening, all. How are they? I just said this when you starting to up the pace a bit, didn't I? No, I was listening to Mark Hateley. Oh, what a player he was. Honestly, I was having a hot flush listening to him there. Honestly, him and McCoy's just to get me going something chronic, I tell you.
This is a family show.
I know, but I'm talking about the footballing skills, nothing else. No, I used to love Mark Hateley. I mean, I really did. He was a cracking player. Him and McCoy. I mean, some of the passes he used to put together just to make me wonder where they get the strength to kick the ball at that pace. Do you know what I mean? But oh no, I mean, I was listening to him there, and you know, it made me think of when I started supporting Rangers all these years ago, and I didn't know anything about football, and I was just a wee lassie going along with my dad, getting led along the start, you know, to the main stand to go to my wee seat in the main stand with my Rovers ticket. And when I seen Alan McCoy in the season ticket office this day, and I was like, Dad, look who it is, you know. But I mean, that was just they were the days when I was naive about football. I just fancied the players. I didn't want to know the football, but now, I mean, just when you think of the class act that they were, the players, you know, Mark Hateley, McCoy, you know, these players. It just makes you proud to be a Rangers fan, doesn't it, really? When you associate it with all the history.
There you go, you've got something in common with Mark Hateley. You're both been on Rangers radio. Big Stevie.
So we know, man.
You're as famous as the Totti for Lanzarote.
Amanda's a hottie for East Kilbride.
I'm hot and I can tell you. Oh dear.
Thanks for that, Amanda. I hope you enjoyed it. You're an absolute gentleman.
He really was. Mm-hmm. Anyway, listen, I'll go and let more callers come in, but as I just say, I just was listening to him there and it was pure brilliance, you know what I mean? Okay, guys, see you later. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
I think, listen, maybe on the show we might get a few people commenting Mark Hateley and maybe put their elbow. We know we've got a game tomorrow night, but he was an absolute gentleman, Andy. Absolute gentleman.
Oh, it's just listening to him, you know. He just gets it, doesn't he? You know, and he understands what it is. That line there about, you know, well, you come in and you have an idea, but you come in and you meet the fans and you understand, and then when you get in and you get amongst them and you go to these clubs and he really gets it and what it means to her. It's a pity some of our players have not got. I had people like Mark Hateley in my changing room all the time. trying to explain to the new modern player what it is to play for the club. How they cannot get it just walking through the doors baffles me, but that's another different side that we're living with these days. But what an absolute, I mean, I could listen to him all night, man. You know, that's just fantastic. Yeah. My old man would have absolutely loved that. I'll tell you that right now. Absolutely brilliant. Can't speak highly enough of the show. That's just, as I said to you, that just makes that's my I felt that I found this show. It's nights like this that gives you a right good voice and what it means to be amongst our own and listen and be able to talk to our own. So I'm in my element tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic for me. That
listen, wasn't this so good? And I know he's a big fan, a favourite of yours, Andy. I'll go to Stevie then, Bridge. Gary McAllister wasn't too forthcoming on Ryan Jack, and I know you can take it either way, Stevie, but hopefully we start getting some good news soon about him.
Aye. Look, I've done a bit with him and without him, that's for sure. And can I just say, I hope he doesn't try and rush it, and he's kidding on, he's all right, when he's not all right, trying to get back quicker. I hope the boy takes his time and we get him back. He's back 100%. But it isn't good when you don't hear them talking about him. It's not right. It's quite worrying, isn't it, Ox? It really is.
No, it's a concern, mate. It is a concern. I hope we're picking up wrong. But Bridgeman, I hope he's getting fitter and stronger. Not just quite, and it's taking an extra couple of weeks, which is nothing in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, following on to Big Stevie saying that, I hope that the guy wants to take his time. I know he'd probably be desperate inside to get back to playing football, but he's got to be 100% sure that the recovery's good in his side without pretending. And then I'd like Rangers not to rush him. Rangers pick their time along with him, take him away quietly and talk to him, see how he is. And then you'll bring him back in. Wee game at a time, half a game. Let's see how he gets on. Bring him on for a quarter an hour the first game, see how he does. And keep your eye on him. And by Christmas time, I've said this away start, by Christmas time, you will know how Ryan Jack is. By Christmas time.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I know he's a big fan's favourite of yours. First and foremost, we wish him all the best, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, your favourite, we wish him all the best. And look, if it takes another couple of weeks longer, I don't care, as long as hopefully the boy's all right, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think you're kind of gathering from what I've said lately about him when asked. I think everything Bridgeman says is totally right, but I've got a big fear now that I think he's going to end up retiring because, like I say, he'll not play for anybody else. There'll be no point. If he can't do it for Rangers and he's got constant injury problems, then it's going to get worse if he goes and tries to play elsewhere. Hopefully, they've sorted him out. They take the right time with him, ease him in slowly, and he does come back strong because whether we like him or we don't like him, he's a big plus to Rangers when he's playing, and that's what we need, going forward. He'd be like a new player again in a kind of funny kind of way. If he does come back through his injury spot on, so let's hope it works and my fear's not there. What I'm fearing for him now, because as I say, I'm not kidding myself. You know what I think about him. I think he's
you've been banging the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, for him for a long time. He's always been a player I liked, even in the Kachina team.
Can I ask you a question, Ox?
Yes.
Did he have injury problems when he was at the Sheep? I can't remember that.
Yes, he did.
Did he? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check that out and see how many games he played, mate, just to let you know, so we can put in a comparison. He played in a different position, but he's been with us. When did he sign for us? 2000. When did
Kachina.
17. He's been with us.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, he's unlucky. Stevie, just injuries are part of the game, isn't they?
They have. And to be honest, he was one of your kind of tougher players at one time. He was the guy that, he wouldn't hold back for a tackle. He was in there, and that's probably what's caused most of these injuries. But I just hope that he gets it right this time. The boy's due a bit of luck to get back in and get himself fit again. He deserves that much. He's been a good servant to your club. and you could see the passion. I seen the passion that day in the cup final. We played them off the park, and at the end of it, you seen the tears flooding down his face. You see the passion, you know, and I just hope the boy gets back to his self again. It's an absolute sin for him, you know.
In 7 seasons, he played 250 games with Aberdeen. Average for the start in 2010, 37, 19 in 2012. He would have been young then, so I don't know if that was form or injury. Then 41, 42, 35 and 39. He's came to us and he's played 21, 46, 36, 24. Yeah, in total. Yeah, so...
it's not a lot, is it?
No.
It's not a lot for the time he's been there. That is, you know, when you start putting it out like that worries me.
He's averaging about 30. This is his 5th season, yeah, at the club.
Yeah.
And if you divide that by 5, he's only averaging 26, you know, games per year. But obviously, divided by 4, it's different. But hopefully, he can get back into the team, Stevie, yeah?
Aye. See, what you've got to remember is, too, sorry stats for Aberdeen, and then you look at them dropping the Rangers, but it's harder being a Rangers player, mate. Mediocre players are out killing themselves to play against the Rangers just because they kick with other foot. We all know the score, but it's harder being a Rangers player. You're playing different opposition. You're in Europe all the time. You're taking yourself to the max all the time, you know, compared to your Aberdeens and other
Heavy jersey, mate.
That's exactly what it is. Totally right. You couldn't have put it any better.
Anyway, listen, we hope with the vibe we're getting, I think we're all agreeing on the vibe, but we just wish Ryan Jack the best for himself, and hopefully he can get fit and get back in the team. Yep. Right, tomorrow night, as I said, Andy, quarter-final of the Cup, you were, I'll use the word scathing, and rightly so, when the 2 Cup performances last season, but this is a chance to make amends, mate.
You don't forget nothing, do you, Ox?
No, mate, no, don't.
I definitely was. You know what I felt about it too. I mean, what really was it? The real disaster of that was that, you know, we'd actually put the filth away in the Scottish Cup, and the way we, you know, scored that goal and let St Mirren score, I just couldn't get that. The boy that he's left now in the midfield, that St Mirren player, put the tackle on him in 5 minutes, and he just died in the game. But hopefully, I liked. You know, McAllister seemed to have a bit of, you know, humph in his a bit of passion about his talk there when he said, "No, look, we got to win this cup." I think it's imperative. I mean, I don't think, you know, if we can win that first cup, as I keep saying, that's a springboard for the rest of the season. And a semi-final, when we get in the semi-final, we get in the final. Let's get it done. You know, we've got to start winning. We've got to start winning trophies or cups alongside winning leagues. Now we've got to go back to what we've been. You know, what were us the states we were? And, you know, the players are there, as I say. It's getting their mindset and the right attitude into them. We keep saying that, but as it stands at the moment, that's all we can say, because what they're serving up game after game is not good enough. You keep waiting, okay, right, it's then, well, we're going to start now.
Yeah.
We're going to start. Yeah. Great chance tomorrow night, though. Great chance tomorrow night, you know.
Yep. Okay, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, Mr. McPherson, you're on the spot. Give us your team.
Oh, come on, man. No me first. I'm going to go with McLaughlin. Aye, McLaughlin, Tav, Golson. Will they play? I think the big man will be back in. Would you call him? His name's away. Balogun. Aye, Balogun. And I think Big Shirley will be back. I think they'll rest Barisic. And then it'll be your usual Davis Kamara. And I don't know if he'll go with Rebo. I think he might go with Hadji. And I think he might go with Roof up front with Morelos. And he'll play. Am I right in saying that? Have I got another one to go?
Aye. One more.
Aye, so he play a Rebo then, aye.
All right, okay. Any thoughts, Bridge?
I couldn't disagree with much of what he said. I'm saying I couldn't disagree with Big Man. I couldn't. I would go with certainly Balogun back in, because the young lad has got a wee bit. He's got to sit in his bum there for maybe a game or two to just grasp what's happened to him over the weekend. Yes, I do agree that Bassey might be a better choice right at this moment for left back slot. There's something not quite right with Barris. It's something not quite right. I'm not being funny.
An injury, I think. That's why.
He actually might have had a head knock somewhere. I think he was doing a shoulder or something at the weekend there. I wouldn't be surprised. That boy O'Donnell that plays at the right back for them.
I think Gerard's commented on that before. You never know when Barisic injured, because he always got done, didn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, it's 100%. I just think there's something no right about his game right at this moment, and I would rather have Big Bassey in, who's done very well. He's had a few games.
Did you watch the game at St Johnstone?
Yes, I did, pal. I know, but he said he's had quite a few games for us, and he's only let himself down once. That's the trick. However, he says Barisic could go in there, Bassey could go in there. Either of the two, and the rest of the team I can't disagree with. I'll be there tomorrow night, everything going well. I will be there, and I will be shouting my head up for my team. That's what I want to see. My team. The last time we played them there, we scooshed them.
But I think we'll see Lundstrom tomorrow night, and I think
please, that'd be fabulous.
Shush! What I tell you?
Sorry.
Right, we've been joined by Travel Rug, yeah. How are we doing?
Good evening. Aye, okay, aye.
All right. Aye.
Travel.
All right, Travel. What's on your mind, brah?
Well, I just wanted to vouch for Amanda. But when Amanda was talking about that time, I was sitting in the main stand.
No, you're breaking up, brother. I think you're driving.
I'm driving. I'm up at Aberdeen, so.
Have you got electricity up there? Have you got electricity? No, you're breaking up. We'll try and bring you back in, Travel. We'll try and get you back in. We'll try and get him back in, Stevie. I think he's going to make a point about Hateley, yeah?
Yep, aye. Amazing, isn't it? We can get the totty for Lanzarote crystal clear, but we can't get Travel Rug for Aberdeen.
It just shows you can't pick who you own in.
The totty for Lanzarote, absolutely brilliant.
He's going to get murdered with that one, isn't he? He's going to get murdered with that one.
He's back. Travel Rug, you there?
I am here. Is that any better?
We can hear you. You head out the window. Right, give us your thoughts, mate. Go on.
Well, I'm glad that Nathan Patterson's back into the fold, because I know I've been a bit of a fan of Tav recently, but I don't think he started well this season. I think that goal that he scored has probably clouded a lot of his performances. He's not been good recently, has he? So I'll be quite happy to see Nathan Patterson back in.
I don't disagree with you about Tav, but I think that reflects in the whole team, mate. Yeah, if I'm being honest.
You've got to expect more for the captain, but that's what you keep telling me.
It's not like an armband, it doesn't give you wings.
I feel that his performances this season have been poor, and I expect the captain to be the one that's lifting everything.
Fox has just messaged me, cut him off.
Don't do that to Travel Rug, for God's sake, come on.
Oh dear.
Travel at the Leon game, so he knows my thoughts on how I think Tav's been performing recently.
Listen, you were breaking up when you were commenting. We just heard the wee bits about Amanda, mate, and you come. We never got your full story.
No, I was just vouching for what Amanda was saying about how she was the way that she got herself help with Super Ali and Mark Hateley. I was sitting beside Amanda and at about that time, and you know what? I was glad some games were Amanda's, because I don't think she'd been able to control herself.
Stevie, I'll leave you with that one.
Well, I'm just, you know how I think about things, you know what I mean? She's probably wet as a beaver's pocket, but anyway, let me get back to talking about the football.
What is that? What was that? A weaver's pocket? Unbelievable. Oh, big Stevie, that's shocking.
Hey, Stevie, to be fair, Super Rally done that to me and all right enough.
He done it so.
Travelrog, obviously you're going away tomorrow and you're going on the season tomorrow, but tomorrow night's a big game, quarter-final of the Cup, mate. It's important, huh?
Aye, and every game's important, and it's funny how the way Mark Hateley was speaking about there and how much it means to the fans. There are no wee games for Rangers. We want to win every single game. We want to win every cup. We don't accept that, and it's great when you hear a player speak like that, because that's the way the supporters speak. And no, it doesn't matter whether it's Livingston, if it's Annan Athletic, or if it's Leon. We want to be the best, and that's probably the foundation of what the club is. So it's good to hear some of the players speaking like that.
Yeah. Oh, we're live at Fox's house.
that sounds awful like Amanda.
I don't take your word for it, Travelrog. I'll take your word. But Bridgeman, then you come, mate, as Travelrog said, we expect to compete in every game. It can be a hindrance, but it's true. We're Rangers.
Well, we are the Rangers, and that's what we wasn't. We need to win. The troops don't support. We don't go and follow for nothing, you know. We want our team to win. Every league game we can, 3 points, if it's 3 points we're playing for, whatever it is we're playing for, we want to win it. No matter the opposition. No matter. Yeah. However, after the games, we all can be as wise as we can be and not be too bitter about what you saw and how they did it. When we see better teams playing against us and beating us, we'll get no complaints, and we're quite happy to say so. Not during the game, right enough, but after the game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, we've got to come out and show we can beat that team anytime at all. That's what we should got to show them. On the park, off the park, stride on, tell them who you are as you go in. Don't take your foot off the neck. It's tore into them.
Andy, it's important that we are about silverware. We strive to win trophies. That's the nature of our club, and you can't do it unless you get to obviously semi-finals and then finals.
Yeah, well, that's the object tomorrow night. You know, usually, you know, back in the day, it was their problem. That was it. You know, we were always in finals, but we're on new ground in the daft kind of way under Steven Gerrard, because apart from the one final and a couple of semis, we've not done well in the cup. So, you know, let's start a new history under his new area, getting us there and starting to win. I'm convinced that we could win this League Cup with a platform for the season. I really am. You know, I'm not really bothered who's in it. I know, because I think if we turn up, we're good enough to beat anybody that's in it. So let's have the right attitude. I'll keep using the word, keep repeating myself, but that's what it's doing to me. Wanting to win, wanting to make yourself better, grow into men, as I keep saying. Some of them still, you think they get in there and then they let you down. But tomorrow night, it's about a League Cup quarter-final. Gary McAllister, as I said, I liked his presser there. He looked up for it. No, we want this game. Now, that's the attitude that you want to see, that McAllister's had. You want to see in the players that turn out in that park tomorrow night. If we get that, hopefully we're in the semi-final and bring it on. Whoever will get in the next round. That's all we can ask, and I'm sure we will. You know, I keep saying it, but I'm sure we can't keep playing this bad. That's a given. You know, we will strike somewhere down the line. Hopefully sooner than later, because we don't want to be, you know, drawing or getting knocked out of cups. So we want to start. They're gone now. We can't do nothing about them. We've had so let's start from tomorrow and let's see if that we can pick it up.
We're playing a team tomorrow that's had to build from scratch. I think they lost 20 players in the summer. Built a team from scratch, Stevie, and went and beat the greatest team the world's ever seen by a distance. And the weekend there. And funny how one coach gets said that he's having a rebuild, and other guys had to bring in 20 new players didn't get any credits. I think that's strange.
Aye, well, welcome to Scotland. Welcome to the media in Scotland. You know, to me, you and the Bridgeman and Amanda would score against Celtic's defence. To be perfectly honest, they're absolutely next. I'll tell you, they're in trouble. They'll start to. But anyway, back to our boys. I just think be a wee bit more clinical in front of goal tomorrow, and I think we'll be all right. But let's not get too carried away. Livingston will make it tough for us tomorrow, but we've got the quality. We should be able to tuck them away. We get one goal, we don't put the tools down, we go and get the other and put a wee bit of distance between it, and then we can move the ball about and play with a wee bit of confidence after that. That's what I'm wanting to see tomorrow.
I've just had the strangest message. Yeah. The Totty for Lanzarote will refrain from calling Rangers radio until he's back in Scotland. Signed your bangers. So I wonder who that's for.
I think that's a word he uses for me quite a lot.
Yes. Anyway, talking about top bananas, we'll be joined by Big Al. How we doing, big man?
Give me 1 second, just up a letter. I'm very sorry, but I thought it would have been.
No, no bother, mate. I don't want you crashing, mate.
No, that's me, right. Sorry. Oh, the Totty for Lanzarote, he's talking about bangers. He must be at the buffet.
Oh, dear, aye.
Oh, the Totty for Lanzarote. Polka dot bikini and all that.
There was a buffet in this hotel. I believe they had to shut it down, mate. It ran out.
Nah, good crack, good par. It's great. I'm a wee bit sad after listening to Mark Hateley. Takes you back. A wee bit what Para Handy was saying as well. I mean, we've got a captain there. He's a modern player. He's a different type of player. But when you think what Mark Hateley done for the club, he was a captain and never wore the armband, if that makes sense. So I can sympathise with Travel Rug. Mark Hateley that day, when he arrived back to play the Puddle Drinkers, he walked through the airport like an assassin, a hired assassin, man. He was like James Bond. But you know what I'm getting at? Is there a player that we could recall that would give you the same vibe? I don't think there is.
Purzo.
Purzo, aye, but I think he's too old now, isn't he? I'm just talking about, is there a player? I don't think there is a player.
Aye, listen, mate. For us in the modern era, he was pretty much, for that kind of player, he was out on his own, yeah? For that type of player, yeah?
Aye, definitely.
You know,
and he is, him and McCoy, I mean, what a partnership. But even individually, they gave you captain's performances week in, week out. The modern players changed, so I'm a wee bit sad this morning in regards, just thinking back. I remember New Year's and all that. You'd go to your my aunties and my mum and all that. They would all talk about Big Hateley because he was a handsome big bugger, eh? You know what I mean? I can get where Amanda's coming from as well. You know that was a thing.
Don't you worry, mate. Rangers are for everyone and anyone, mate. We don't discriminate here. That right, Stevie?
That's correct.
There's a couple of boys at the party.
Is that you coming out, Big Al?
I believe they've come out the closet now.
Is that you coming out of the closet, Big Al? Is that you coming out?
No. I'm very heterosexual.
We know that,
very heterosexual. But I've nothing against them, like nothing. Everyone and anybody, whatever makes you happy.
Listen, some great memories there with Big Hateley, yeah?
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. Phenomenal player.
Honestly, mate. We could have been on for an hour, 2 hours, mate. We never touched on the Rangers team, the players, the World Cup. You know, we didn't go into depth. It was just, you know.
When you speak about his career, I'm going to Google him when I go in. Just but the AC Milan, Monaco, rhyming off players like Georgia Weir, Costa Curta. You know what I mean? What a time. And then for him to have the humility to put himself on the bench, I thought that was really good.
I wouldn't have done that. I'd have put myself
No. Aye. You could have been the new Ryan Jack. You could have brought the water on.
Andy still there? It was some lineup, mate, wasn't it? It was some lineup,
Yeah, definitely. Look, I need to go because Sorry, but I need to go. Stevie, did you finish all the biscuits, big man?
Oh, bite me! I'm down to my last. I'm down to my last one.
Keep an eye out. I'll send you another wee package. But that weekend you were eating the biscuits on the way to Ross County, and then I heard you were hitting pies up there. You must have been on the lavvy for 3 or 4 days.
A big Innis.
Right, I'll leave it at that. Big Innis. You enjoy your Madeira, big man. All the best, Rangers Radio. An absolute wonderful coup for these. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Aye. Some initial feedback, Stevie, for Big Mark Hateley has been superb.
Oh, unbelievable. I can't believe Big Al for Australia, clear as a day, and your man's up in Aberdeen, we can hardly hear him at all. Absolutely mental, isn't it? I mean, it just shows you again how far and wide the show goes, Ox, you know. It is absolutely brilliant, and the people listening about Mark Hateley, look, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Rangers, he's a Bear. He's absolutely in love with our club, and that's what it does to people. And, you know...
Fox and Old School Blue were doing an exercise once to see about the listeners, and they had a worldwide map and where the heat map was, or where the listeners went, and obviously the majority in the west of Scotland, and there was one up the West End, one so the Kelvin Sideway, just the one listener, and the rest were everywhere else in Glasgow, you know. And then there was one in the middle of the Atlantic, and we couldn't work out who that was. Travel Rock. Travel Rock.
In the middle of the oil rig.
In the middle of the Atlantic. Your Travel Rock.
Brilliant. I was looking the other day at Rangers bars and one came up, Vietnam Loyal, and I actually fell off my chair. Vietnam. The middle of the jungle. Unreal, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Listen, Andy, have you got a team for tomorrow night before we start wrapping up the show?
Yeah, well, I'll go McLaughlin. I think if Patterson had not had the wee injury, I think he might have got a turn there tomorrow night. So it'll be Tavernier, it'll be Golston, Balogun, Vassy on the left. In the middle, this will get to old Chin salivating, but I'll give Lumsden the game tomorrow night. West Davis, Kamara and Rebo around him in the same three that started on Sunday there. That's what I think he might go with. See if I can get any close, because I never get these teams right, as I've told you. See what happens tomorrow night.
Old School Blues just sent me, we'll get 3 listeners for North Korea, so I don't know how that's worked out. Oh dear. 3 listeners for North Korea. Right, well, we're wrapping up here. Travel Rock, if you can hear us, you stay safe, mate, on these seas, and stay safe, mate. We'll speak to you soon. Andy, always a pleasure.
Aye.
Look after yourself,
no
mate.
problem.
All right. Big Stevie, how you can come off a mute you, press your mute button, you can talk. Come on, big man. Bridge has been teaching you.
Hello.
That's it, mate. Easy, innit? Easy when... over to you, Big Stevie.
See, just before we wrap up, I just want to wish Julie Roy for her by all the best. She was no well there. A right good heart and blue roses, Julie. So all the best for Rangers Radio. And thanks for having me again. And by the way, what a wonderful interview, by the way. 10 out of 10 yourself. You've done well interviewed Big Hateley. I think the Prince can only back you up when I say that. You've done well, buddy. You really did. And as you said, you could have been on for this. But thanks for again for having us, and 10 out of 10 for your interview. Okay, mate?
What about you, Bridgeman?
Well, what can I say? Big thank you to Big Stevie for the drum. It was marvellous. Great partner tonight. Thank you ever so kindly. Well done yourself, Oxford, of course. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, what a night. What a night tonight. Fantastic. Well done, Oxford. Brilliant interview. Thoroughly enjoyable. But everybody, play tomorrow night. Once for the Rangers, and we'll get into these Livingstons and beat them.
Just to let you know, Southside's team for tomorrow night: McGregor, Tav, Golston, Rossin.
Scottish League about 1,000 times. The League Cup is simple too. We gave some exhibitions in the Scottish Cup. We gave a Wembley Wizard too.
And when the Glasgow Rangers win the European Cup, well, won they have before. We'll rally round at Ibrox, 100,000 strong. We'll give the boys an Ibrox roar. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how we'll love to hear the cry. We'll love to see the lassies with a blue scarf song. We'll love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We'll love to see the Rangers score. Song. We'll love to hear the boys roar, but I don't have to tell you the best of all. We'll love to see the Rangers score. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how I love to hear the cry. We'll love to see the lassies with a blue scarf on. We'll love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We'll love to see the Rangers